I will call the November 17th, 2014 Daviess County Fiscal Court meetings to order. Commissioner Lambert will lead us in prayer and the pledge.
Father, we're thankful for the blessing that you continue to provide for us. We ask for your blessings and watch area during this time of cold and rain, sleet, and icy snowy weather on those that are shut in. And we ask that you take care of the homeless and be watching over them. We ask that you give us your guidance and your direction as we care for the business of the county. In Christ, and we ask. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Once again, I want to welcome everyone to our November 17th, 2014 meeting. Special welcome to Commissioner-elect Mike Cole from the East. Mike, nice to have you here with us today. Jenny, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Item 1, consideration for presentation 8, memorandum of agreement between R&B Foods and Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Ms. Smith, I assume that you're going to do this?
Yes.
I don't think we have, don't have to do it. He's going to present.
This is presentation. I'm sorry.
Yes, this is just a couple of years ago. We signed an agreement with Unilever, allowing them to take some of their waste out of the county to be incinerated as part of a corporate program. Since Unilever had now been sold to R&B Foods, we need to change the agreement to reflect that. So this is just for your all's presentation that the names have changed and the judge will sign name change.
No, there is no change in the agreement other than the names.
That's correct.
Okay. Question or comment by the commission? Next item, Jen.
Item 2, consideration for approval A, minutes of the November 6, 2014 court meeting.
Move to approve.
Second. I have a motion, second. Commissioners, you have a copy of the minutes in your packet for some time. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioners, again, you had a copy of all the bills due and payable in your packet for some time. Do you have any questions of treasurer at this time? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
C, amending the Administrative Code Operating Policies, Chapter 3, Purchasing, relating to quotes.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and second. Gordon, are you going to do this?
Yes, Judge. The current policy is that any single expenditure over $500 needs to receive 3 quotes. On reviewing the single expenditures that range from the current floor of $500 to the proposed floor of $1,000, no adverse effects are apparent to raising the amount. The current figure has been rendered obsolete by inflation, the nature of purchases at this level, and the vendor sources for the highest frequency items. We recommend amendment.
Question or comment by the commission? There being none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
3, ordinances A, first reading of AOC B49, 2014, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of general obligation refunding bond series 2014 in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $18 million to refund and retire the county's outstanding taxable general obligation Build America Bond Series 2010.
Commissioners, this is the first reading, so we don't need motion. And second, and actually this item is the reason we're meeting on a Monday morning and going to have a special call meeting tomorrow. Mr. Hendricks, do you want to walk us through this, why we're doing it, and what we hope to accomplish?
Yes, gentlemen, as a way to set history for this, in 2010, the court issued Series 2010 bonds that did primarily 3 things. One of the items in the bond was that finance the landfill, cell construction, and the convention center. As you know, there was $20 million for the convention center. $980,000 of which was actually issued as a recovery zone economic development bond. The others were issued as Build America bonds. Now, what's unique about the bonds at that time was that they were set up where BAB bonds gave a 35% rebate from the Internal Revenue Service for the amount of interest we paid. The recovery zone bond is 45% rebate. So the bonds that we're actually going to refinance are the BAB bonds that are 35% bonds. They were issued as 10-year non-callable, which means that you couldn't refund them for a period of 10 years without paying the interest. You do that particularly so you get a lower interest rate. And typically that's how the court issues bonds. They're issued serial bonds for a maximum period of 20 years. As you know, they're financed by increasing the insurance premium tax by a 4% amount. Now, several things have occurred to get us to this point today. First of all, in April, we had the 5-year insurance premium tax report, which showed that we had an excess of $735,000 to date. In 2009, when 4% was approved, it was estimated that the annual revenue would be between $1.5 and $1.6 million. As of today, that revenue has increased to $1.8 million, which will give us more in excess each year. As part of the sequester, our rebate was actually decreased from the 35% by about 7 or 8%, with nullified no-call provision, and that allows the court to consider the refinancing first before we could not have. Also, interest rates have dropped again to a level where this refinancing is attractive. So the ordinance that's proposed today does a couple of things. It refunds 2010 bail bond issue and will issue a new series 2014. The court will take $500,000 of $735,000 excess and will provide cash payment up front to buy down the debt. We will also take the increase in the revenue stream up to $1.8 million. We will decrease the term. So instead of remaining 16 years, we will have a remaining 10-year term. So the new issue will be for 10 years. It will be non-callable. I do want to clarify one thing because it's going to be confusing. The fact that debt is non-callable in no way alters insurance premium ordinance, which says as soon as we've collected enough money, that tax comes off. So just to give an example, if the revenue continues to increase over the next 4 or 5 years, and if we collected enough money to pay the bonds off in 7 years, the insurance tax will come off. We will have the money in an escrow account that will continue to pay the bonds off. So they're not linked. So the fact that this is a 10-year bond does not tie the collection of the insurance premium tax for 10 years. I just want to make that clarification. With that, I'll read the heading of the ordinance. It's Ordinance B.49/2014. It's an ordinance of the County of Daviess, Kentucky, authorizing the issuance of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2014, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $18 million, which may be decreased as necessary to refund and retire the county's outstanding taxable general obligation bill America bonds, Series 2010, approving form bonds, authorizing designated authors to execute and deliver the bonds, providing for the payment and security of the bonds, creating a bond payment fund, maintaining the heretofore created sinking fund, authorizing the acceptance of the bid of the bond purchaser for the purchase of the bonds, and repealing inconsistent ordinances. And the ordinance just lays out legally what the court's going to do, what we are required to do, and is normal in nature, and there's really no anomalies in that. This is the first reading. Second reading will be at 11 o'clock tomorrow. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Hendricks, the savings from the interest rate estimated when we finance this?
We will save in excess of $2 million.
Okay. And this, you're very clear that the ordinance increase in insurance tax, the bond aren't linked as far as the time when the insurance tax will lapse.
That is right. They are not linked. We will look at the revenue stream separately. As soon as we have enough revenue to pay the bonds off, the tax comes off.
Okay. And the last thing I have on my page is this refinancing, and does not affect the city's financing of their bonds. The increase in their tax was a separate ordinance through the city. This applies only to those people living in Daviess County outside of the city of Winsboro.
That's correct.
And the city of Whitesville. Those two are separate governmental entities. Commissioners, any question or comment?
I wanted, if you could, Jim, explain what's the press to get this done. I mean, we don't normally have another special called meeting immediately after a regular meeting. So, and I don't mean to put you on the spot by asking that, our bond counsel.
That's a good question. Good question. Actually, what triggered it to be a 24-hour period is the fact that the court's gone the remainder of the week, and then at least one court member's not here next week, and that would be kind of risky to hope that no one's sick that day. This was tomorrow was just, the next 2 weeks was simply the best day to have it tomorrow. That's it. Now, what you also may be referring to, I got the analysis and we reviewed it and decided to go. We are trying to get to market early December, so we are working on an expedited schedule. But that expedited schedule is really not the reason we're having the reading tomorrow. It was more or less the only day all 4 court members were available in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. I just wanted that to add to the benefit of our citizens.
Commissioner?
Yes, I got to this. I won't have many opportunities to ask you questions, Mr. Hendricks. I've got 2 or 3 for you. The refinancing the bonds, the retirement of the old bonds, is that going to happen only if our revenue stream continues to be as it is? That's not a guarantee, but if the monies are available because of the continued increase in revenue, we'll pay it off. But there's not a guarantee that revenue will continue to be
I think you may be confusing 2 things. So let me clarify. The refinancing that's going to take place.
Right.
The bonds that we issued in 2010, if bonds sell, now, every time we do this, we have an out. We have estimated the interest rate. Let's just say the market blew out. The day they sell, we'll get a call and have to approve it. So if in December we see it's a go, the bond sale, 2010 bonds are retired. As soon as the cash flow takes place, which would be a couple weeks after that. So the 2010 bonds are all bought out. They're called and redeemed. We issue a new set of bonds that are dated 2014. Now those will have a 10-year period to be paid. Now, that assumes that our revenue streams at $1.8 million, that's why we're going 10 years. Now we unhook from the revenue side. The new debt's issued at that point, right? Now, revenue will be whatever it is. It'll either be $1 million a year, more or less. We still have to pay that due debt.
Right, okay, I get you. Now, the other question, the investors buy bonds to make money. Does the early retirement of these bonds causes a inability in the future to buy or to sell bonds, or does it likely increase the rate which we'd have to pay for our bonds?
To the financial community, these types of scenarios are normal. They're very common. They're typically no impact to us as the issuer for this type of activity. That would have been factored in the decision. It was negative. So there's no negative impact anticipated at all, and it should not increase cost of issuance. The main driver for that is our bond rating. I talked to the bond rating agents Thursday. They'll issue the rating early next week. There's absolutely no, this is a non-event for them. It will not affect bond rating at all. So, and it's the biggest driver of interest rates. So.
Okay, that's all that.
In speaking to Commissioner Lambert's question, I think one of the things we're taking $500,000 out of escrow to help pay down the bond debt. That still leaves us with about $250,000 in the escrow fund, just in case we have a half a year or a year where the revenue doesn't come in. But I think what we looked at in the analysis, the revenue should be sufficient to do that. Certainly, we are always pledging good faith and credit of Daviess County Fiscal Court and our general tax revenues to cover any of the costs that wouldn't be covered by the insurance tax revenue.
Well, this good news just certainly will be received well with the taxpayers, and so I'd like to congratulate our staff for understanding this and being able to make this recommendation to make a lot of people happy.
Well, and I agree with you, and I know Mr. Hendricks is going to rebut something I said, but the thing I wanted to say was also this court and its continued effort to reduce costs to the taxpayer. I want to congratulate the court for being willing to look at some innovative ways to save money. Yes, sir.
The only thing I was going to point out is you're absolutely right. While the insurance premium tax was imposed to pay the bonds, this is not a revenue bond. This is a general obligation bond, which means court owes it regardless of the revenue stream. We don't anticipate any issue. But even if there were, paying the debt is not linked to the revenue side. The court is obligated to pay it regardless, and that's why you get such an attractive interest rate. And I think all our bonds at this point that you've issued and were issued in the last 10 years, I think they're all general obligation bonds at this point that for the court's debt anyway. So,
okay. Any other question or comment by the commission? Anyone in this huge audience have a question or comment? Next item, Denny.
Item 4, consideration for discussion. A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court. Judge, I have 3.
Okay, first item.
Approval to advertise for bid number 22, 2014 fire damage barn reconstruction.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion, second, commissioners, as you're aware, back, I think it was in spring, we had fire out at could have been late, it's been a while, but back in the spring, we had fire at Yellow Creek Park. One of our log structures was damaged. I think we have, Mr. Johnson, we've got our approval by the insurance company to move forward, I guess.
That's correct.
So this is just a motion to approve us advertising for bids to repair the damage. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Approval to accept the resignation of Service Tech Joseph Keith Hayden effective 11/28/2014.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have motion second. Mr. Hayden was a member of our road department. He has entered his resignation. I appreciate all the hard work and effort that he's given to the citizens of Daviess County. Any question or comment by the commission? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Approval to advertise for Service Tech in the Department of Public Works.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Commissioners, I'm making the assumption that this is a replacement for Mr. Hayden. The county engineer is shaking his head. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
B, public comments.
This is a time during which we ask the public to come forward to the podium, identify themselves, and are welcome to speak on any item other than what was on the agenda. I see no movement by the public. Next item.
C, comments by Daviess Fiscal Court.
Mr. Lambert.
Pass.
Commissioner Watson.
Just want to point out the hard work of our road department. We appreciate them and hope they stay safe while they're out there fighting snow.
Commissioner Caslin.
I think we have one local team that's still pursuing, heading towards state. Yes, Owensboro High School. I want to wish them well in their pursuit of a state championship.
Okay. Mr. Hendricks talked about court being gone this week. KCO has their conference, their winter conference, so all the commissioners and myself will be at KCO. I do want to announce that our next court meeting will be tomorrow, November the 18th, 2014, special session at 11 o'clock. The only item that will be on the agenda will be the approval of the bond refinancing ordinance. If there's no other business to be brought before this county fiscal court without objection, we're adjourned.